How are we going, everyone? Happy Sunday. Well, happy Easter to everybody as well. It's been a while because I've had a week off, and a week off not relaxing, a week off doing a lot of other things. And today I got a chance to come out into the garden, be it all early, about half an hour, 40 minutes is what I'm going to spend here. I had to come and clean up this garden because 2 days ago the sheep got out. Don't ask me how, they got out. And on their way through to the other paddock, because they know where to go, they venture through here and they do a bit of a pit stop, clean up a little bit around the garden, obviously all the good stuff. And when they went in there, they also decided to jump the fence and get into the chicken house, which meant they broke the fence, chickens got out, they came along, dug up that trial bale straw that I've got going on there, completely destroyed that, then came through all this garden and started turning it over for me. Now, needless to say, the seedlings that were self-germinating, my little volunteers, all of them, not all, well actually not all of them, a lot of them were disrupted, a lot of them destroyed, but that's not a big problem because more will germinate regardless. So they sort of scratched around the surface, sort of spilled out the soil everywhere, and I thought, well, got to come and clean it up. Took out all the summer crop that we had. We had some tomatoes growing in here. You can see some of the carrots, plenty of seed on here, still thousands upon thousands of seeds. I've sprinkled a heap over there already, and you can see I transplanted the ones that are already germinated. So come and have a look at this. So these were all germinating in sort of clusters, and I just carefully pulled them apart and planted them back in, yes, with the root system nice and straight, well, as straight as I can get them. Otherwise I would have cramped up too much. So we've got carrots growing in here. We've got some radicchio here these are actually from Sarah's. So we've got the radicchio, we've got the lettuce as well here. That's from Sarah's, and some onions, which I'm just planting in now. And I'm just scattering them around. You can see the nasturtiums. They'll keep coming up year after year. They're dropping seed everywhere. So companion planting, we've got nasturtiums, radicchio, lettuce, onions, carrots, potatoes growing over there. There's a little bit of basil, feverfew. So companion planting, multi-species planting, populating the microbial count in the soil, which is important. Now, the other part about this garden bed, if you remember, for those who don't know, we had some bad soil, and I'll keep referring back to the bad soil because I've never dug it out. So it's always underneath here. Now, I've been topping this up, not often enough, but this side here in particular I have, not as much on that side. In the corners I have, because that was really covered over with nasturtium. So in the last 6 months, it got only a feed, not a top dress with planting mix, and that's what I'm referring to. Now, let me show you the soil. This stuff here, chickens have scratched around, and obviously for a reason. There's got to be life in here. So if I put my hand in here, before, look how far down I've gone. Now I've just sort of hit the bottom. I'm going to pull some soil up. Not too bad, okay? It's getting there. We're trying to build life down below. We're trying to build the humus so we can get the moisture to stay down there. So this is starting to work through, layer upon layer without digging. That's the long game. The short game is dig it over, add your fertilizer, organic, compost, planting mix, whatever you love, whatever I love, and start planting away. So I've decided to go with the long way. Don't dig it, layer it, layer it, layer it, and eventually we should get the life down deep below. Also, mulch. I know it's cooler down, it's cooler now this time of the year. It's cooling, well, it hasn't really cooled down. We hit 29 the other day, 3 days in a row we hit a 30. Today's 27, humidity's through the roof. Trying to rain, it's not raining. Tomorrow the same thing. So temperatures haven't really cooled down, but enough so that you're not really worrying about having to water twice a day, morning and night. So for me, I actually haven't watered today, and all I've got to do now is try and get the mulch in here. Vital. Now, I'm lost for words how to get the activated mulch. That's what I'm referring to. A lot of you may not know, or some of you don't know, I like to hydrate my mulch before adding it into the garden bed, and that's putting some biostimulant into it. And when you grab it, it's really soaking wet. It's like picking up seaweed and spreading it out. So it's going to be really difficult. A little bit of patience, take my time. I'll get the mulch down because it's important to stop the sun. Even though it's a lower sun, not as hot as summer, it still can dry out the surface of the soil. And the surface temperature will be at least 10 degrees. When it's like 25 degrees, it could be at least, I don't know, 32 or 34 degrees above. So it can actually get a lot hotter here. So if you get a 30-degree day, you take the soil temperature reading, it could be double that at times. So that's why you need the mulch over the surface. So what I did here, you can see, I've planted some seedlings. You can see the radicchio here, the lettuce on there. I've dotted across the other side as well. We've got leeks, that's what I missed. Self-germinated leeks popping up. Here's another one. No, that's a spring onion, sorry. Those ones there are leek. There's a difference. Spring onion's got a round leaf, like a tubular sort of form. The leeks are flat. So this is spring onion. No, it's not. Bugger me. Look at that. The central one is still formed, it hasn't pulled apart. I grabbed that and it felt like it was a spring onion, but in fact it is a leek. There's a flat leaf on the outside. They're on the outside as well. So that's come up on its own. We've got, no, I planted that one there. They're over there, you can spot them all there, and the spring onions as well, so they're always giving. What I did here was actually top dress it with planting mix. So that's why it sort of looks a bit dark. There is a little bit of mulch underneath, and it was only a light dressing, about a centimetre on average across the board. Some areas more than others because there was a lot of divots in there from the chickens, but generally speaking, a light dress. Did my seedlings. I wish I had my mulch down, which I'll do later on. I'm not going to do it now, I haven't got time, but a good soaking. Give it a soak with your liquid feed and you should be right. I'll just show you one other garden bed as well. This bed here, earlier in the season, we had a big, well, a tomato growing in here. I can't remember what it was, to be honest with you, but we had a variety in here. Look, it's actually germinated too. So we've got a lot of seed in here. And look how low it is. This is a super sunken bed. It was up here. You can see where the soil marks were. So we've lost all that, and that's not chewed away, but it's what it is basically is the mulch that we had underneath breaking down. This is super wet. It's, oh my lord, wait, I feel like it's mud down here. It is like mud down here. And just to make sure we got life in there, we got a bit of life here, worms. Look, we got juvenile worms, heaps of them. They're all just coming to life now, you know, so it's breeding season, folks. They're enjoying it down there. Now what I'm going to do with this, very little. In fact, just cleaned out the old tomato plant. I had a couple of old dwarf beans growing in here, or they've died off, and you can see we've got marshmallow growing. We don't want that in here. Keep that out. We've got some onions still coming on, and I love my dandelion. That is fantastic. That's how, well, that's going to be today's salad. We're having whatever we're eating tonight, but we're going to have it with the dandelion leaves. We're just going to just blanch it a little bit, salt, vinegar, or lemon actually, not vinegar. I was just thinking of fish and chips. I feel like more fish and chips. So salt and lemon. So what I'm going to do with this bed here is just give it a light top dress, just that much, with our planting mix. And I'm using, no, I'm just going to use this bag. And I can't recycle these bags, folks. And again, I'll stay tuned for updates on what we're doing with our bagging. Things are changing again. We'll talk about that later on. But for now, this is an old bag that had a hole in it, left out in the sun for God knows how long. And I only just realized it was for me. So I'm just gonna spread it around. So you saw how much I put in there, not a hell of a lot. It is dry, yes, because it's an old bag. And all I've got to do is hydrate it and bring the life back into it again, folks. So let's see, I haven't even used half a bag in here yet. I doubt if I use half a bag. I really don't want to fill it up because I love the life there is underneath there. So ideally all you're doing is just giving it a top up, using it as almost like a fertilizer, top dress fertilizer. You can plant into it directly, you know that. You can fill it up, you know, 4 inches, 100 mil, even more if you need to. But if you don't need to, well, spread it out thin, lightly, because it's got all the good stuff in it, and use it as a organic earth food. That's the way I'd call it. Organic earth food, or just earth food. Forget the word organic, it's been overused. Just good earth food. All right, so this frame's staying, and again, Sarah's planted some broad beans, and we've got our butcher boys having a feast down there. And I've got to get these in the ground, so I picked these up on Monday. Today is, we're filming this the day before, it's Saturday. I think I forgot to water them at least 3 times, so they've copped. Well, there you are. That's my bad, okay? So I forgot to water those seedlings. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and plant some other stuff in here as well, but my concern is once these broad beans grow, well, they're going to grow so big, they're going to overshadow anything under here. So even these onions are going to struggle. But I'm only doing it just to see how well they frame up, or use this as a frame to hold them up. Now, what have I got here? Normally I plant about 15 or 20 together. That's me in the past. Me in the future plants only 5 because we want a multi-species plant, and that's what I'm going to try and do in this space. Maybe not the right size garden bed for this because it's going to look like a mop top, you know, like a mohawk, all the 1980s, what do they call them? I can't remember the hairstyles, curly tops, gel back sides, long tail on the back. Yeah, it's the fashion back then. So we're going to get, don't worry about me. Broad beans in here, 5, 6 varieties, or we've got 4 varieties, but we'll put at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at the size of these. Look at that, how thick that is. And that's grown in our planting and cocoa, 50-50 sifted, all natural, all clean, good earth food, and there's no chemicals whatsoever in this. I'm getting excited, I'm going to stick them all in here. There's no chemicals whatsoever in this stuff here, folks, so they're all grown naturally. So we can, and heirloom seed as well. So these are traditional varieties, haven't been tampered with. All right, we'll leave the onions in there. This is way too close. Last year or the year before, I grew them in a row, two rows, you know, one side by side, with the framework in the middle. They did pretty well. I had underplanted with those because they were in a row. It was easier to underplant. Now, why I'm saying this is going to be difficult, so you're trying to understand what I'm talking about here. If I had a long garden, well, I've got long garden beds, but let's say I picked a long garden bed to plant them in, right? Consider this the garden bed. Forget about the zucchini, it's finished, that's all good. Say this is the garden bed. Behind me is north. South is where I'm facing, obviously, east, west, and so on. So if you're going to be planting in a long garden bed, they're the taller plants, put them in the back there, so they sit as a backdrop, as a screen wall, stops the southerly wind coming through as well, and they get plenty of northerly sunlight, and they don't overshadow smaller plants in front. So if you're dotting them out like this, as I'm doing now, which is really not ideal if you want to multi-plant here with other varieties, like I've got onions here and dandelions and beans, they're just going to go to crap. They're not going to see the sunlight, and they need some sunlight. You can't say they can do the dapple light. No, they can't. Dandelion will probably be okay, get a bit soft and mouldy on the outside if it doesn't get the sunlight and the airflow through it. And the onions, well, they'll try and peek through. They'll stretch really tall and lanky, trying to find a little bit of sunlight. They'll form a bulb, but because they're not getting all those minerals to feed back into the soil, so they in turn can get the minerals back, because that's how it works, plants connect to the microbes, we're going to have not the best looking onions, folks, not the best looking onions, but we're going to have some grouse broad beans. But I will say one thing, that I can plant some lettuce in here because they'll grow real quick. By the time the broad beans get up there to get the height, little plants like lettuce, or even cos lettuce, even the mignonettes are really quick. They will be fine to plant underneath, and you can harvest those before the broad beans grow too big. Have a wonderful Sunday with your families, a wonderful Easter day. Stay safe, well, you don't have to stay warm, but stay healthy, clean food and clean gardens. And check out our website, vasilisgarden.com. From me, Vasili, Maresi.